Once upon a time, in a faraway land, lived an ogre named Shrek. Now, Shrek was big, green, and honestly, pretty scary to anyone who happened to cross his path. But deep down, all this grumpy ogre really wanted was to be left alone in the peace and quiet of his swamp. He loved his solitude, his mud baths, and living far away from people who just couldn't see past his monstrous exterior. But one day, Shrek's peaceful life was completely turned upside down. A massive crowd of fairy-tale creatures suddenly invaded his swamp where talking animals, dwarfs, elves, the three little pigs, even Pinocchio. They'd all been banished from their kingdom by the tiny, tyrannical ruler, Lord Farquaad. Furious, Shrek marched off to confront Farquaad and demand his swamp back. Along the way, he reluctantly picked up a sidekick, a chattering, energetic donkey simply named Donkey. Donkey was Shrek's total opposite: loud, cheerful, and never afraid to speak his mind. At first, Shrek couldn't stand him, but slowly an unlikely friendship began to form. When they reached Farquaad's castle, they found the pint-sized lord had a big problem. To become a king, he needed to marry a princess. His magic mirror pointed him to Princess Fiona, who was locked away in a tower guarded by a fire-breathing dragon. But Farquaad was a coward, so he made a deal with Shrek. Rescue Princess Fiona for him, and he'd get his swamp back, free and clear. Shrek, caring only about his home, agreed. So, our unlikely duo set off on a perilous quest. They crossed mountains and forests until they reached the Dragon's Keep. Inside, Shrek battled the beast, while Donkey, in a bizarre twist, actually charmed her. Turns out, the dragon was a she, and she fell head over heels for the little donkey. With the dragon distracted, Shrek and Donkey rescued Fiona and made their escape. At first, Fiona was thrilled to be rescued, picturing a handsome prince. When she saw her savior was an ogre, she was less than impressed. Still, she traveled with them. On their journey back, something magical happened. Shrek and Fiona started to connect. They laughed, they argued, and they discovered they had a lot in common. Fiona began to see the kind heart beneath Shrek's gruff exterior, and Shrek started to wonder if maybe solitude wasn't all it was cracked up to be. But Fiona was hiding a huge secret. Every night, a curse transformed her into an ogre. The spell could only be broken by true love's kiss. Ashamed, she kept it hidden. Donkey found out by accident, and she begged him not to tell. But Shrek overheard part of their conversation and misunderstood, thinking Fiona was calling him an ugly monster. Heartbroken, he delivered her to Farquaad and stomped back to his swamp, convinced he was destined to be alone. Fiona, equally heartbroken but resigned to her fate, agreed to marry Farquaad. The wedding was set for that very day, but Donkey wasn't having it. He raced to Shrek, cleared up the misunderstanding, and convinced the ogre to fight for his love. With the help of their new friend, the dragon, Shrek, and Donkey flew to the castle just in time. Shrek burst into the wedding, declaring his love for Fiona. A furious Farquaad tried to have them both arrested, but before he could, the dragon crashed through the window and swallowed him whole. Just then, the sun set, and Fiona transformed into her ogre form in front of everyone. She looked at Shrek, afraid he would reject her. But he just smiled. To him, she was beautiful. They kissed, and a powerful magic washed over Fiona. The curse was broken. But not how she expected. She remained an ogre. This, she realized, was her true form. Shrek and Fiona embraced, finally finding their happily ever after. Shrek no longer lived alone. His swamp became a home filled with family and friends who loved him for who he was. He learned that true happiness isn't found in being alone, but in sharing your life with the ones you love. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another video. See you next time.